1,576 candidate subject results cancelled in 2016 WASI. Deputy Ministers for Foreign Affairs and Eastern Region sworn into office. Hello, good evening. It's time for News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Suyoko Kwakutre
and I am Micheline Taka. To help us with the sign language is Clement Sam.
The West African Examinations Council has released provisional results of candidates who took the 2016 West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASI. WAEC says 274,262 candidates sat for the examination. This figure is 2% higher than that of last year's, which stood at 268,764. WAEC says after concluding investigations into cases of examination malpractices detected during the examination, 1,576 candidates had their subject results cancelled. 598 candidates had their entire results cancelled. 13 other candidates have also been barred from taking any of the council's examination for 2 years because of impersonation.
Their results were also cancelled. The entire results of candidates presented by 85 schools have been withheld as investigations into alleged cases of mass cheating are being conducted. Furthermore, the council is in the process of dispatching the results to the schools, and candidates are advised to contact their heads of school for their results. Meanwhile, results have been posted online for candidates to access. The council is alerting the public, especially the candidates, to be wary of imposters who promise to exchange examination results for a fee. Fresh faces on board. 2 deputy ministers took the oath of office at the Flagstaff House today, marking the official start of duty. The process, administered by President John Mahama, fills a gap in the foreign ministry, which has been without a deputy minister for more than a year. A specialist in international affairs and former director of the West African Network for Peace Building WANIP, Mr. Emmanuel Bombande, is the man who has taken up the foreign affairs job. The other confirmed appointee is the Deputy Eastern Regional Minister, Joseph Teteyango.
Of the Almighty God swear
that I will preserve, protect,
and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana,
and defend the Constitution of the Republic of
so help
Ghana.
me God.
So help me God.
The public service means you are servants of the public, and it means that you must render service to members of the public irrespective of their ethnicity, irrespective of their age, and irrespective of their political affiliation. We are supposed to exercise circumspection in respect to how we relate to the public and deal with them, all manner of persons, in a just manner.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, the two of us, Honorable Joseph Teteyango and my humble self, appreciate sincerely this opportunity to join your team, serve diligently in your administration and in your government. We respond to duty by assuring you, sir, that we will serve with dedication, integrity, and commitment.
The Ashanti Regional Elections Early Warning and Response Group has been launched in Kumasi. The group is expected to develop and recommend response strategies to violent threats in the general elections.
The Ashanti Regional Elections Early Warning and Response Group is expected to provide information on the impact and progress of national early warning systems to mitigate violence before, during, and after the elections. The chairman of the National Peace Council, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, stressed the need for Ghanaians to preserve the national peace through concerted efforts.
Peacemaking involves all stakeholders. We all have a role to play. At the end of it all, At the end of it all, what should happen is that Ghana must be the winner. This 2016 election, the winner must not be a party or a person, but the winner must be Ghana. Because Ghanaians will rise up and say, we've made it again.
A representative of the U.S. government, Nana Sewa Bonsoamuako, said elections early warning and response groups are systems that will monitor, analyze, and report election violence triggers. The program director of West Africa Network for Peace Building, WANEP, Levian Adaimensa, explained the role and function of the Regional Elections Early Warning and Response Group. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. John Alexander Kon, said the elections this year presents another test to the country's peace and democracy.
Ghana's democratic credentials are respected the world over, in view of the fact that the country seems to be the oasis of peace in the sub-region, where conflict and political upheavals are endemic. Justice is very important, but peace should always reign supreme. In trying to resolve issues, it is peace that will give the platform to resolve the issues.
Reconstruction of some major arterial roads in Sekondi Takoradi is progressing steadily for residents. This comes as a relief since the good roads will ease the bad traffic situation.
The reconstruction of such major arterial roads, including the Fijai Junction to the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital and the Esikai window to the Fijai bypass, became necessary following their deterioration and importance to commuters. The 1.7-kilometer Fijai Road links the main Takoradi Cape Coast Road to the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital. The Esikai Window Road, on the other hand, links residents of the new site for development to Takoradi. These roads were left to deteriorate to the extent that demonstrations were held by drivers and residents to demand their reconstruction. The chief of Esikai, Nana Kweku Manso, and his people were happy when the project was awarded on contract and mobilized resources to pay for the demolition of structures that were affected by the project.
Drainage na yetum ye senepakolo bada no stones obada ne dan bioma ena ya diamond.
The project being undertaken by Sabia Engineering Limited is on course. The chief executive of the company, Mr. Samuel Ofuri Labi, told GBC24 that the project will be completed on schedule in view of its strategic importance to the metropolis.
Asake is an old town. So the people have approached the road seriously. The chief himself and the people themselves, they are demolishing it. They have contributed some money, and then actually reinstating the walls and other partitions for them.
Meanwhile, work has started on the asphaltic overlay of the Takwa Township roads. The completion period for the project is 18 months.
There are 5 big mining companies in the Takwa Nsawam municipality. This means economic activity is brisk, but traffic slows down everything since all the arterial roads are in a deplorable state. This has impacted negatively on business and thus incurring the anger and displeasure of residents. Therefore, it was a relief to all when work on the asphaltic overlay of 10 kilometers of the Takwa Township road started. The 16.1 million Ghana cedis project also involves drainage works and sectional repairs and will be completed in 18 months. The MCE for Takwa Nsawam, Mrs. Christina Kobna, said the project will make travel time on the roads much easier and boost economic activity. The acting president of the Apinto Traditional Council, Nana Edupin, was happy that something was being done about the roads, but called for the inclusion of more roads to benefit Takwa's status as a mining town.
So what we ask for Syria? No, I can Takwa go to Ukraine. What was it say? No, so be able to go to group. What can sit in there like the when state lighting now do not see who also saw. Yes, I had a good time.
A deputy director at the Department of Urban Roads, Mr. Edward Annan, asked road users to cooperate with the contractor for the project to progress without a hitch. The Western Regional Minister, Mr. Paul Evans Edu, had sought for work to start And he said road infrastructure has been the same of the Western region and appealed for patience as the sector has received a major boost in recent times. The Apinto Traditional Council later presented 20 boxes of mineral water to the contractor, while accommodation has been provided as a show of their cooperation.
A VOA affiliate station conference on the theme Maximizing Station Profit has taken place in Accra. The conference exposed media managers to profitable areas of investment in their stations. It also brought them up to date with new marketing strategies in broadcasting. This particular conference was for VOA's Anglophone affiliates in Africa. The conference also considered projections into the future about the use of smartphones as a broadcasting platform and worldwide TV penetration for Africa.
What we want to know is what's happening on the continent. We have bureaus north, south, east, and west. We have bureaus in Cairo, Johannesburg, Nairobi, and Dakar. And we have a range of stringers that work with us all throughout the continent so that every morning when we come to work in Washington, where the editorial and production studios are, that we make sure that we have the freshest news. And that's from our reporters in Africa.
The conference also afforded VOA the opportunity to get feedback from its affiliates.
With this gathering, it also affords us the opportunity to also get back to them, give them feedback. And one of the feedback that we are happy to give them is that we want them to also concentrate on the brighter side of Africa.
We don't just do bad news, okay? We're not going to be that media station that only has bad things to say about Africa. We know better. This is a dynamic continent with all sorts of fantastic innovation and technology and health. There are entrepreneurs on the continent. There's progress in political and social and human rights.
The program attracted participants from Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Ghana, and the Gambia. Some of the participants spoke to GBC24.
The first one I had was last year, in July last year. It was a 5 days training. Wonderful. Then I was really 7 months in marketing. But after that, believe me, I've been doing greatly. I'm sure of what I'm talking about. I've been making millions for my company.
Media broadcast business in Liberia is still down. We hope that by the end of this conference tomorrow that we're going to learn a lot from the experts and go home and use it as a tool to help grow our industry.
As the people of Jamestown climaxed the Algira, the Jamestown Manche Blimponi Kojo Abebiu said the prevailing peace during the festival should be guarded right through the December general elections. Mrs. Matilda Endisatha, who was a special guest, commended the people for remaining united. The event took place at Manche Agbona in Accra. Theodora Amedeto reports.
Proud to climaxing the Algira festival, where chiefs are carried in palanquins amid the firing of muskets and drumming through the principal street of the area, and the purification of Jamestown stools at the Kolibu Lagoon, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, paid homage to the Jamestown Manche, Oblimponi Kojo Abebiu, and his chiefs, elders, and the people to wish them well in the celebration.
The Vice President afia na bani nawo ninyongba hanye to enjole ne hanye hiwale ke ku mefemu.
The Jamestown Manche Oblimponi Kojo Abebiu described Mr. Arthur's visit as historic, since it is the first time they have celebrated with such a personality. He prayed for the prevailing peace to continue right through the elections and into the future.
First, I make a semo. Like a shafi, now for Shiki. A small giddy. Whatever I know, that I know, it's small. Whatever I know, it's small. Oshiki be let one small.
The people of Jamestown celebrate Ojira as a result of their long association with the Akans, and this is part of their Homowo festival. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
Hello again, my name is Maurice Ogbeti. I'll bring you up to speed with happenings from the business arena. Now, a Ministry of Finance research has shown that Ghana has about 1,781 installed post-harvest facilities excluding transport. Despite this figure described as encouraging, the country still loses 20 to 30% of agricultural produce to post-harvest losses. Government is therefore pledging to double budget lines to the agricultural sector with private sector support.
The agri sector contributes about 30% to Ghana's GDP and 47% to total employment. In 2014 alone, the sector contributed $2.7 billion to the country's economy. Despite these achievements, the agri sector has seen a decline, growing at 0.04% in 2015 and 2.2% in 2016. Factors accountable for the dwindling fortunes of the sector, according to experts, include low productivity due to climate change and inadequate post-harvest infrastructure. In a bid to understand current trends in the agri sector, the agribusiness unit of the Ministry of Finance embarked on a research to take an inventory of post-harvest facilities in the country. The research will assist the unit in advocating an increase in budget allocations to the agricultural sector.
Looking at the general view of the infrastructure that we picked, we are having about 1,741 infrastructure nationwide, which covers warehouses, which covers the abattoir, the cold stores, the community warehouses, the good practice centers that we have in the country. So basically, if we don't have anything at all, with 1,700 and over, we believe that if we are able to bring it to a standard where we are saying that this is a perfect infrastructure for post-harvest losses prevention, then we could reduce our 20 to 30% of post-harvest losses in the country.
Deputy Minister of Finance, Mrs. Mona Korte, said although the research findings are encouraging, government is better positioned to increase investment in the sector.
There were structures and there were efforts, but it was necessary that we investigate and find out why we were not getting the full impact of putting some of these policies and laws in place. And the findings have guided us in being able to come out with recommendations that will help. At this point, government will not only support with policies and laws, but there will also be some serious real investments to make sure that we assure the youth to come into farming.
Ghana's shared growth and Development Agenda 2 prioritizes investment in post-harvest infrastructure, which includes processing, transportation, packaging and storage facilities. The agenda highlights the establishment of marketing boards and developing appropriate agri financing instruments.
The Ministry of Petroleum has met all petroleum sector agencies to review performance for the first half of the year. The agencies, which include the up and downstream sectors of the oil and gas industry, presented their media report to the Minister for Petroleum, Mr. Emmanuel Ama Kofibua.
From the beginning of each year, the Ministry of Petroleum and its agencies set targets to be achieved. Within the year, these set targets are reviewed to highlight successes chalked up and the challenges that could hinder the progress of the oil and gas sector. The media review, which was an annual meeting of all petroleum sectors, brought together board chairmen and the chief executives from the Ghana National Petroleum Commission, the Petroleum Commission, National Petroleum Authority, Ghana Oil, Ghana Gas Company, and the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company. The various agencies say, although the first half of the year has been challenging, they have chalked up some successes and are hopeful that the oil and gas sector will see some expansion by the end of the year.
We've had a torrent challenge where we've had to stop production for a while, but we worked assiduously with our partners led by Tullow and Cosmos and Anadaku to come up with a solution which has brought us back into production And we are back at 100,000 barrels a day now, producing enough gas to power the Western Enclave.
Through our intervention, prices have been kept as low as possible. And we believe that if GOIL were not present, prices would have been higher than what they are now.
Minister for Petroleum, Mr. Emmanuel Amakufibua, was happy with the gains made in the sector. He said the ministry is working towards achieving fuel security by the end of the year.
We've achieved almost over 90% of the goals we set. And the message is that the petroleum sector is strong despite pockets of challenges. The upstream sector is vibrant with potential increase in oil and gas production. Downstream sector is strong, ensuring security of supply and product quality for the people of Ghana.
Still Business Live on GBC24. Now, at a validation forum of the Ghana Cashew Draft Policy, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Dr. Spill Gabra, encouraged processing of cashew locally. Citing cashew production in Kenya as an example, Mr. Spill Gabra said Ghana has the potential of becoming a global competitive hub for cashew.
Cultivation in Ghana started in the 1960s with sporadic plantings in the central and greater Accra regions, and later in the Blue Ahafo, northern, upper east and upper west regions. Between 1970 and 1980, the industry suffered a setback due to the absence of the needed support in terms of policies to facilitate its development. Issues like low producer prices, underdeveloped market structures and inadequate information regarding appropriate husbandry practices for the commodity caused farmers' enthusiasm in the crop to wane. In 1983, the interest in cashew cultivation rekindled with the introduction of the Economic Recovery Program. The crop was identified as one of the major non-traditional crops to be developed as part of government's efforts to diversify the country's export base. The policy prescription indicates that government will facilitate the provision of inputs such as modern machinery, fertilizer and other agrochemicals for cultivation. The field project manager for the Mennonite Economic Development Associates, MIDA, Mr. Samuel Sedo, said with the enabling environment for cashew farmers, Ghana's cashew industry could produce 200,000 metric tons of cashew per annum. The president of the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana, Mr. Winfred Owusu, said the draft policy for the cashew industry will be sustainable with a legal and institutional framework.
We need a fund, and the policy must make room for that fund. We in the industry, we have discussed, and we are willing to make a contribution. We propose that there should be a levy on raw nuts and exports. Government should also come in to also provide seed money in addition to whatever proceeds from the levy to set up this fund.
The Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Spill Gabra, underscored the role of stakeholders in the growth of the cashew industry.
The critical aspect is to process all or most of Ghana's raw cashew nuts in Ghana. That is the most important policy dimension because that is what makes Ghana an industrialized country. So you are not just selling raw materials. That is what also creates additional jobs because the jobs in the farms have already been created. Once you plant your seedlings and the tree is growing, you will create agriculture-related jobs.
We go over to the interbank market where the dollar is trading at 3 cedis 95 pesos, the pound at 5 cedis 15 pesos. To bring you latest price of gold, cocoa and oil on the international commodities market. We Do Insurance News brought to you by
Most important because most people pick up the fundamentals of education during their formative years, but this is also the stage where children are usually vulnerable to conditions such as worm infections, cholera and diarrhea.
There are a lot of school health interventions. We have wash, we have nutrition, we have what and what, we have mentioned them. But how sustainable have these been? How integrated have these activities been, interventions been? We want to use this project to see how best we can properly integrate such interventions into the education delivery system.
The intended eye screening and deworming exercise is expected to enhance the children's learning process.
The Ghana Education Service perceives that the school health integrated program, the SHIP, is a very laudable one indeed, and we are happy to have it and to collaborate with PCD and site service in its implementation. But we are hoping that this program will go beyond what is going to happen at the Jimbo and be extended to other children all over the country.
The head of private health at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Maureen Mate, said the program is informed by the results of researches carried out throughout the country.
Vision problems affect nearly 13.5 million children annually, and the rates for vision problems increase as children age, with a quarter of adolescents aged 12 to 17 years reported to have eye problems.
Sight Savers, an international non-profit organization, is undertaking the program together with Partnership for Child Development and the World Bank.
So in the health segment.
Good evening, time to bring you up to speed with happenings in the world of sports. Head coach of the national under-17 male football team, the Black Starlets, Pakwesi Fabin, says he's going to sharpen his attackers ahead of their second leg tie in Burkina Faso. The Starlets on Sunday came from behind to beat their Burkinabe counterparts by 5 goals to 1.
The national under-17 male football team, the Black Starlets, began their campaign for next year's African under-17 Championship in Madagascar on a good note. The Starlets advanced to this stage after their opponent, Liberia, withdrew from the first round of the qualifiers, whilst Burkina Faso also drew a bye in their first round. The Starlets in the white jersey came from a goal down before Emmanuel Opoku's equalizer and Captain Eric Ayer's brace. Isaac Anta made it 4-1 for Ghana before Nathaniel Opoku scored Ghana's fifth in the 9 members of the game. Head coach of the side, Pakwesi Fabin, said he's looking at improving on the side's goal-scoring abilities.
The boys played well, but we missed so many chances that we could have buried them under goals. But all the same, 5-1, I think it's okay. It's a good scoreline. We're going to work on goal scoring, and then we'll see what happens. So their children, they listen to instructions and they play to instructions.
The second leg will be played in Ouagadougou in 2 weeks' time. The winner of this tie will advance to the next stage of the qualifiers to face either Benin or Ivory Coast.
Still on football, the chairman of the Black Starlets Management Committee, Kwekwe, has called on the team's technical handlers to guard against complacency and the second leg tie.
When it comes to the technical aspect of the game, when it comes to the raw talent, Ghana abounds in, and it's way ahead of the rest. So the only time we have issues is where this 18 comes in. But if it is like they are playing among their mates, they are playing among their equal, even playing field, they may be physically strong, they may be big, they may be huge, but the players are better than them when it comes to the game of football. Complacency is something that you must always guard against. These are young boys. You saw how GTV they were in the first minute. Me and you, where everybody screams goal, they hit it against the keeper. Balls which were hitting the bar, me and you, and then over the bar. It just tells you that they were jittery at that stage. So what you just have to motivate them is that your one leg is already there. Don't panic. Take the situation as it comes. Don't be jittery. let's enjoy the game and definitely we'll go to the next stage.
Let's head to Brazil now, where Ghanaian swimmer Kia Forsen recorded a personal best time despite finishing third in heat 1 of the women's freestyle 200-meter race at the 2016 Olympic Games. Finally, Deputy Captain of the Black Stars, Andre Didiayu, has joined West Ham on a 3-year deal for a club record fee of £20.5 million.
This is the entertainment segment. You welcome back. For many people, it is always rewarding when working hard pays off. So to say thank you to its citizens for being at the forefront of development, the Nzimale Council and the historic Nzimaland project have honored some indigenes, including Petroleum Minister Ama Kofi Boah and the Chief Executive of the Ghana National Gas Company, Dr. George Sipayanki, at the Nzimaland Development Awards.
They came from far and near to write yet another page in the history of Kambuli in Nzimaland. For starters, sons and daughters of the soil showed up their apparel. The list of people hoisting the Nzimaland flag and bringing honors to their soil include Ghana's ambassador to Cote d'Ivoire, General Peter Augustin Blay, Petroleum Minister Ama Kofi Boah, Chief Executive of the National Gas Company, Dr. Sipayanki, the current Ivorian Prime Minister Daniel Kablan-Duncan, with the theme, recognizing our own as we sustain the Nzimaland development agenda. The Chief Executive of the Ghana Gas, Dr. George Sipayanki, took home the category of the State-Owned Enterprise Awards. Petroleum Minister Ama Kofi Boah picked the champion of Nzimaland Development Award, while Mr. Cabral Blay Amihir took home the Media Development Award. There were other awards in various categories. Some spoke to GBC24.
To be recognized by all the chiefdoms of the entire Nzimaland, it's a very humbling experience. And what it does is that it says that you should continue to work very hard. And I think it's a responsibility that has been bestowed. And I believe that I have to work hard to earn that trust of the people of Nzima.
It's a vindication for government and for we at Ghana Gas. The people of this area are very happy and very grateful to government.
Organizers say they hope to step up the awards to make it more attractive.
Away from that dance, Adinkra symbols are visual symbols originally created by the Ashantis and the Jaman of the Cote d'Ivoire. The symbols, which are decorative arts, also represent objects that convey traditional wisdom, aspects of life or the environment. Here are some Adinkra symbols and their meanings.
There are many different symbols with distinct meanings, often linked with proverbs. These symbols are extensively used in fabrics, poetry, logos and advertising. But how well do you know the names and meanings of these symbols? This is Sankofa, which literally means return and get it. This symbol tells us of the importance of learning from the past. Sisan Subain, meaning change or transform your character, is a symbol that represents life transformation. Wawa Abba means a seed of the Wawa tree. This represents toughness and perseverance. The seed of the Wawa tree is extremely hard, and in the Akan culture, it is a symbol of one who is strong and tough. Tamfo Bebre simply means the enemy will steal in his own juice. It symbolizes jealousy and envy. Ufu Diapa literally means when you climb a good tree, and it is a symbol of support, creation and encouragement. It is from the expression Ufu Diapa na ipiao, meaning when you climb a good tree, you are given a push. In metaphor, it means that when you work for a good cause, you will get support.
that's all in the news for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at 10:30 with News Tonight.